some of the bigger ones, but I haven't admitted
Those
everything.
are pretty big.
Don't worry about it. Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, lousy teams meet in the NBA. Rory has ideas for the PGA Tour, and Steve Young joins us for 5 good minutes. But we begin today with Victor Wembanyama scoring 40 points in only 26 minutes last night in a 136-108 romp over a depleted Lakers team. Wembanyama had 25 points in the first 8 minutes of the game. The Lakers sat Luka, LeBron, DeAndre Ayton, and Austin Reeves, 4 starters, and Marcus Smart, who has started 36 times for the Lakers this year. By not playing at all, LeBron is now ineligible for any All-NBA team. Wilbon, which is the bigger deal, Wembanyama's performance or LeBron's ineligibility?
LeBron's numbers that are all attached to longevity, they don't even matter anymore because he already has all of them. Okay, so that's over here. I watched this last night, not the clips. I watched it in live time. When Wembanyama went wilt, that's what he did. Somebody made the joke, oh my goodness, I'm forgetting who's doing the play-by-play, who said if we keep going like this, somebody's gonna have to hand Wembanyama a card that says 100.
It says 100.
It was unbelievable what he did, and I'm glad he did it. You know what? Okay, so LeBron wasn't there, and Luka wasn't there, and neither was Wilt, and neither was Jerry West, and neither was Shaq. Fine. He went into the place where you put on a show, one of the 2 places, Madison Square Garden, LA. He went in there and said, have some of this over and over and over again. I don't care if you're here. And then he said afterward, I want it to be greedy. Greedy. That's a word I associate with 3 people in the history of the NBA. Michael Jordan in no special order, Wilt, and Kobe. That's Bird. So 4. They were so ruthless, and Wembanyama seems to have that. And I don't care who was, I don't care if it's you and me. In an empty gym, most dudes who get paid $50 million can't put up 25 points in 8 minutes, and he did.
So we're going to disagree a little bit here. First of all, you had the game right. Yesterday on the show, you said the Lakers can't win the game, and you listed all the people that weren't going to play. So you had that right. The reason I'm not particularly impressed with what Wembanyama did last night, not any other night, last night, is because he wasn't playing against anybody. Who was guarding him? The ghost of George Mikan? Who was guarding him? Nobody was guarding him. Mike, this was not a game, it was a scrimmage. 25 points in 8 minutes. This was a scrimmage. Okay, but it was a scrimmage. Now, in terms of LeBron, the fact that LeBron can't be eligible for an All-NBA team, well, that's the rule. He's missed too many games. And by the way, there are 3 All-NBA teams. There should be 1. The 5 best players, regardless of position, it shouldn't be so bloated, and it only exists for contractual purposes.
Yes, it does.
Now, in terms of not being on, so what? He is one of the greatest basketball players who has ever lived. Is somebody saying, oh, wait, he didn't make All-NBA 3rd team in 2026, so I don't want to hear that.
Wembanyama.
Yeah, well, he's great. But last night doesn't prove it or establish it. Not last night.
It reminds you.
Go ahead. You love him.
I do.
I know.
Yes.
I understand.
He's it.
I understand.
Right now.
I understand.
But we'll move to a game on tonight's schedule that stands out for all the wrong reasons. The Sacramento Kings take their 13-game losing streak to Utah to face the woeful Jazz, who have been sitting starters in recent fourth quarters. In the past, the NBA has tried to get teams to compete by altering the draft lottery or creating a play-in. But Tone, is playing not to win a problem the league needs to address again?
I live in Washington, D.C., a city where the NBA team is trying to lose. The executives of the Wizards are trying to lose. And by the way, succeeding to lose. They are right now, because they want a higher draft pick. It's all about the draft pick.
It's all about the draft pick, yeah.
They are 14-38 this year. In the last 3 years, they are 47-169. Everybody should be fired. Nobody has been fired because this is obviously the plan. They just traded healthy players for Trae Young and Anthony Davis, big names who are hurt, haven't played a minute. I'm not sure they will ever play a minute for the Wizards. I'm just not sure about that. And I think fans of this team, if there are any fans left, should bring a class action suit for fraud on the part of the Wizards for selling season tickets and not ever attempting to win. The Utah Jazz are not attempting to win. They're sitting their starters in the fourth quarter. You cannot close out a game when your starters are not playing.
Close out a game.
Look, players want to win. Players don't tank.
That's right.
Coaches, general managers tank, and owners allow it to happen.
We agree on that.
It's a plague.
100%. And now we will disagree. The league shouldn't touch this. You know why it can't? because billionaire owners are going to say, we want to go to court, really? You want to prove that I'm doing this? I don't mean in the case of Utah, because it's easy. By the way, Danny Ainge, I know how much you respect Danny Ainge.
He's brilliant.
Okay, so let me just mention that Utah, by tanking, you tank to win. So ultimately, you are trying to win.
Because high lottery thing.
See, I know Danny Ainge saw A.J. Dubance score 36.
Yeah, I'd take the pick away.
So if you put, and I too,
I'd take the pick
if you put Dubance with Markkanen, Kessler, Jaren Jackson Jr., Ace Bailey, and Keontae George next year, they make the playoffs. That's winning.
What about this year? What about the fans?
If I'm a fan, I want to know my team can win next year.
I'm going to quote something.
How about you know what the sin of the Wizards is? They don't get it right.
I'm going to quote something.
That's the sin.
About a month ago, when the Steelers were looking for a new coach, they put Art Rooney II out there, and they said, what about the inevitable big rebuild? And he looked at everybody in that room and he said, we don't do that. We try to win every single game.
Good for him.
Good for him, and that's why he doesn't own an NBA team, because they don't.
You know what? Good for him, and I want Dubance. Or I want that kid, Caleb Wilson, and so do you in Washington, because then you can stop losing intentionally.
47 and 169, and nobody's fired.
Don't get it right. Well, somebody got fired in the previous.
It's my turn. Let's move to golf. Rory McIlroy is out in California getting ready for the Pebble Beach Pro-Am that starts tomorrow. At a press conference yesterday, Rory said, quote, I think the Players is one of the best golf tournaments in the world, but we have 4 major championships. It's the Players. Doesn't need to be anything else, unquote. Rory also called the PGA, which is a major glory's last shot, referring back to where it used to be on the major schedule last. In 2019, golf moved it up to second. Now it's in May. Rory wants it back to 4th in August. Wilbon, is Rory right?
Both cases, yes. The Players, it's exciting, it's huge, but you can be huge and not be called a major. It's huge. It's the best field.
Yep.
It's the deepest field.
Not a major.
He's speaking factually. And Tony, I hate that the professional golf is so afraid of the NFL.
Totally.
That it won't even put some, first of all, yes, there is some overlap in terms of viewership and eyeballs, but there's a lot of it that's exclusive to your endeavor. And the season is scrunched. They should put this back in August. It feels unnatural to have it where it is, with the stupid FedEx thing just rushed in there and slapped together. I'm with Rory on both counts.
Okay. Golf has 4 majors. They've had 4 majors, the same 4 majors, 60, 80 years, maybe more than that. They got the Masters, they got the U.S. Open, they got the British Open, and the PGA. So they got 4. That's what they have. They have 4. You remember the Beatles? Beatles had 4 members. They had John, Paul, George, and Ringo. There was a disc jockey in New York when the Beatles came along named Murray the K, who said, I'm the 5th Beatle. But you're not, because they only have 4 Beatles. The Players has the best field, you're right, but it's not a major. There are 4 heads, right? On Mount Rushmore, there are 4 heads. Anybody clamoring for a 5th head?
Well,
you don't.
Probably.
Well, you don't need
somebody
a 5th head.
clamoring for
now,
a 5th.
You're right.
Yeah.
They moved it for 2 reasons. One, they moved it because it was a 2-month gap between the Masters and the next major.
Which is okay.
They wanted, but golf wanted to fill the gap. But the more important reason was they wanted to get out of the way of the train that is the NFL. Yes. And so the FedEx Cup wants to be finished by Labor Day, so there is not a conflict. If you can put it in August and still accomplish that, I'm okay with that. But Mike, I don't mind it the way it is, because now we have majors in April, May, June, and July. I don't think it is. I don't think it's too rough. I like it.
It felt natural the way it was. It felt great having the PGA in August. Of course they can put it in August. Pro football doesn't actually start until the Sunday after Labor Day.
Well, Thursday.
So there's Thursday. So they got time to do this.
Can I tell you something? I met Rory's father when I was in Florida.
Okay.
I mean, he's a member at Seminole. I met him. He was a lovely guy.
Rory's father's a member.
Yeah. He was completely lovely. He watches this show. And he watches TGL as well. Let's take a break.
Now you went a bridge too far.
Coming up, we will ask Steve Young about Drake May's Super Bowl struggles.
We'll also ask him whether Mike Macdonald's success could spur a run on defensive.
We're not done with the NFL season just yet. We have some questions for our great friend, the man who seemed like the homecoming king of this year's Super Bowl festivities, Mr. Steve Young. We're going to start with Drake May. How does a painkiller shot in your throwing shoulder help and hurt you as a quarterback? And what sort of empathy, and that's the right word, empathy, because you played this position, what sort of empathy do you have after his struggles?
Well, first of all, the shot, I mean, the shoulder's the most complex joint in the body, and especially a throw, you know you're throwing shoulder better than anything else, like the intricacy of it, and if it's numb in a certain spot, it can really affect you. And I think in the first quarter, it's like he doesn't look 100%, so you could tell that something wasn't right. So I feel bad that had to happen at that time, but taking shots in the shoulder, yeah, I mean, sometimes it doesn't matter, and sometimes it really does matter. It's hard to know the context. As far as the empathy, man, it got to a point where I always used to say in college, all the receivers are open, and in the pros, nobody's open. That was the difference. And that was like for Drake all year, everybody's pretty much open, and then all of a sudden he goes to the Super Bowl and nobody's open, and he's getting mauled, and you could see him getting overwhelmed. Like it just gets, it gets into your head, it gets into everybody's head. We're in the Super Bowl, it's going the wrong way, we can't get a first down, and then things start to go haywire, and they never could get right. And that's why championship football is so compelling, because it happens that fast. It's not 7 games. Now you don't get to go back tomorrow and try it again. It's like it all happens right there, and then just devolve, and bam, you're out. And he's going to learn a lot from it. It's a huge scar that he's going to have from it, but he can turn it to the positive over time. But man, talk about empathy. That was a tough spot.
We'll switch quarterbacks and get to a totally different sort of story arc. Steve, you told our friend Rich Eisen earlier this week that Sam Darnold's career arc feels similar to yours. I must have missed the extra 3 or 4 teams that you got dumped to, but please tell us, what is it about Darnold's career arc that feels similar?
Yeah, I would say this. He started in a place where it was cloudy and rainy, how it felt, right? It was oppressive in how it felt to try to be good. And then you get to a place where the clouds part and the sun comes out in the West Coast offense, and now the fruits of it, now we talk about every week. And that's similar to me, right? It's like I started in a place that was just brutal, and then got to a place that's just, you can now go find out how good you can get. And that's the best thing you could ever ask in the team sport, is be in a spot where you have the right kind of people to allow you to go show if you're good or great or whatever it is, let's go show it. And I think that arc is really, that's true for anyone, Michael, whether you go team to team or not. Right. Are you in a place that has a platform that can allow you to iterate and find out how good you are? And there's just not 32 of them. We talk about that a lot. And when you find one, it's like a gift from heaven. And you just, now let's go. You might not be as good as you think you are. It might be the truth that you can't do it. But at least we're going to find out how good or great you could be. And I think Sam in that spot, it feels familiar.
All right, extending on that, we're going to ask you to be judge and jury when you mention those platforms and who has them. Of the young quarterbacks besides May and Darnold, so let's say people in their, 5th year or less, who impresses you? Who do you like? Who do you look at and say, yeah, I'll take some of that for a while?
Well, like we just said with Sean Payton, you got Bo Nix. He's in one of those places where you're going to be able to iterate and find out how good you are. And it seems like he's going to be pretty good. Then you get to a spot like in New Orleans with Tyler. Is he somebody that could do a Brock Purdy? I mean, could he be